Hello, I'm Presley, and welcome to what is the first of a few videos in which I will be talking about some of the video games I enjoy. Now, the reason why I decided to split these up into a few different videos is because I decided to group the games together that I want to talk about by their respective genres. Mainly because I thought it would be a bit easier to discuss and go over them that way, And I decided that there would be no better way to start this off than by talking about some horror games I enjoy. Now you see, I've always found horror games to be utterly fascinating. I love learning about horror games and the history and development behind them. It's a topic I find very fascinating and that I enjoy looking into. However, despite having such a fondness for horror games and loving learning about them, it actually took me quite a while before I was ready to pick up a horror game, because I've always had really bad anxiety. So despite loving the concept of horror games, I wasn't fully sure that I could handle playing one. Until one day, I ultimately decided that I was going to try and play one. So I looked into a bunch of different options of what to play, and I spent some time thinking about which one I should go with, and ultimately I came to the decision that the first ever horror game I was going to play was going to be Resident Evil 4. And I still distinctly remember that overall feeling of being anxious when I first started playing it. However, as I got further into the game, and I slowly grew more accustomed to it, I found myself having a wonderful time playing it. I would honestly consider Resident Evil 4 to be one of my favorite games, easily in my top 10 favorite games of all time. And Resident Evil 4 will always hold a special place in my heart, with it being my first ever horror game I played. And I still believe that Resident Evil 4 was the perfect game to make me feel comfortable playing the survival horror genre as a whole. I'm also really excited to play the Resident Evil 4 remake that, if I remember correctly, is supposed to come out sometime in March. But yeah, that looks fantastic and I'm really excited for that. Alright, the next game I'm going to be talking about is The Evil Within 2. I had so much fun playing this game. I had a lot more fun playing this one than I originally thought I would, and I just found it to be an overall really enjoyable experience. Alright, so in this one, it takes place 3 years after the first Evil Within game, and in it you play as Sebastian again. And without going into too much details, Sebastian thinks his daughter died in a house fire, but she didn't. He's approached by Julia Kidman, who tells him that Mobius actually faked her death and currently has her. So, of course they knock Sebastian out, they take him to Mobius's headquarters, and that's where he learns that they once again have STEM up and running, but this time using Lily, his daughter, as the core, using her to power STEM in order to create the town Union inside of there. So, of course they tell Sebastian that, yeah, we don't know where she is in there, we kind of lost her. So, they send Sebastian in to look for her, and once he arrives in Union, he quickly sees that it is, not holding up well, to say the least. With the citizens of Union being turned into these horrific creatures. And, these obviously range from, that's mostly humanoid, to keep that thing away from me at all costs, Like you expect from a horror game. Now, the game relies on a mixture of stealth and combat, unless we're talking about the horrifying ghost lady, in which case, running is sometimes a reasonable option, but a lot of times stealth is what you will be going with, since you can't kill the ghost lady, because of course that's absolutely what this game needed. But yeah, the ghost lady is genuinely terrifying. So yes, from a design point of view, I love her design. It is so unsettling. And from, a gameplay point of view, I also really like the way she's designed. just the way that she says Sebastian's name and the way that she sings whenever she's close by, it's so creepy. Now, two of the main components you will see when it comes to this game is that you use green gel to upgrade Sebastian's abilities, which includes an array of things: recovery, health, stamina, which he desperately needs because he does not have good stamina to start out with. Like, seriously, upgrade stamina. Stealth, also focus on stealth, you're gonna need it. And combat. And then you'd use the weapon parts to upgrade your weapons you acquire throughout the game. But yes, I absolutely will be making a review of this specific game because I have a lot I want to say about it. Honestly, this game is everything that I kind of hoped it would be, which, honestly, I really enjoyed. And now, the last one, which is actually technically a horror visual novel, which is Spirit Hunter Deathmark. And now, this game is very interesting, honestly, because this is a game that I genuinely knew nothing about, and that I decided to get because I simply thought it looked interesting. And yeah, it was really interesting, honestly. Alright, so without going into too much detail, you play as a character, who you can name if you want to, who wakes up with amnesia. He can't remember who he is. And one of the things he immediately notices is that he has this mark on his arm. And you know, he recalls the rumor going around about these marks being caused by curses and by coming into contact with ghosts. And how anyone who has this mark supposedly dies by dawn. And then, you know, he loses consciousness. And when he reawakens, he is in front of the Kudrow family manor. And he ends up meeting the, I guess you could say, porcelain mannequin, I don't really know what you would technically call a type of doll named Mary. And you know, obviously the main events of the game just follow the main character trying to find a way to save himself. You know, while also trying to solve the mystery of who exactly he is. Now, I will outright state that there is a good ending and a bad ending to the game, depending on what you do in it. Well, I think this is where I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.